The Bassmaster Classic is headed in Texas. Ray Roberts. Will this be the record-basing classic they thought they were going to have in 2021 before COVID postponed it? And is this Ben Milliken's best chance to win a Bassmaster Classic? Can the content creator YouTuber show out in his home state like he did on Lake Fork and Toledo Bend and Rayburn and so many lakes like that? Will it set up similar pre-spawn? He's had some really fantastic events. It'd be fun to watch. Also, will other Texas anglers like Chris Zaldain and Livesay have a leg up in this event, and will they go for big? I mean, all three of these anglers are kind of known for big baits, big bass, big risk, big tournaments. So this should be really exciting. Or is it going to be somebody else in that 50-plus angler field that takes home the Bassmaster Classics, hoists the sport's ultimate trophy over their head? Let's talk about how this one's going to set up, who the favorites are, and how you can pick your fancy fishing team. And maybe I'll see some of you at the Bassmaster Classic. Let's start by breaking down the lake and taking a look at how Ray Roberts sets up in the Omnia Fishing website. So head over to Omnia Fishing. We'll click on states. We'll find Texas, plenty big on the map. Find Ray Roberts. We'll get some information here. We already can see there's 31 total fishing reports. Some of the top recommended products, things like that. Fishing reports that are relevant, soft plastics, Senkos for this time of year. Water temps anywhere from the 50s into the 60s when we talk about March fishing. Let's jump in, zoom in here. Looks like they're saying water temp mainly are just creeping into the low 50s for the main part of the lake. People still reporting bladed jigs, wacky rigs, Carolina rigs, so offshore, and some fish possibly creeping up here. Looking at the water temps, you can see there's a lot of dark blue, a lot of upper 40s, low 50s, and mid 50s. There's a few peaks at 60s in some of these real pockets far up, but that's probably surface temp. Looking at the real-time water data for Ray Roberts, and we're just 5-6 days out from the actual start of the tournament, which is going to be Friday. Largely thinking pre-spawn here. Will there be a few fish that creep up over the weekend? We've got a good warming trend here. Will there be just a couple fish starting to show up on beds? You know, some early spawners maybe, but I think we should probably predominantly base our fantasy picks on a pre-spawn attack. Also, there's been a lot of wind on the lake, so water clarity could be a factor. It's been blowing, it's been switching directions, so I think that'll be something to really watch out. It's a fairly calm day today, but we've had some wind, and then as we get into the, we can look at a more of a 7-day forecast here. Wednesday looks like it's going to be gassing pretty good. Definitely things to consider as we're looking at this tournament. The wind is switching directions, blowing quite a bit. If you watched any of the practice videos, there was some major wind, especially the first day of practice. Some anglers got in a little bit of a sticky trouble wicket. So we'll see. Will this wind affect the start of the tournament? Will it be a factor come Friday? Looking at some of the forecasts, there are some predictions of like 20 to 30 plus mile an hour gusts for Friday. If that's the case and it goes up from there and there's storms, could they potentially cancel or postpone a day of the Bassmaster? I don't see how they could move the Classic or extend it to Monday with how big a production it is. So if there was a weather day for the first time ever in Bassmaster Classic history, it would probably become a full field 2-day shootout at that point. Never happened in the past, but what if it does happen this time? We'll have to watch the weather a little closer here. Turning off the wind, the other thing is this lake is quite a bit of flooded timber cover. Not a lot for vegetation in Ray Roberts. It's mostly hard bottom timber, things like that, which doesn't help with the wind and the water clarity. All right, hopefully that helps you paint a better picture of what you want to do for the Bassmaster Classic in your picks. Now let's start talking about, who did well in fantasy fishing from the last two events, who won the Beat HellaBass groups or Lake Okeechobee, before we get into the picks for the Bassmaster Classic. Getting into the Beat HellaBass group, I am not off to a great start. So hopefully some of you have pivoted and took some of the information I've said and made better decisions on your picks. Fantasy fishing winner for the Big O, Rabbit Rules, already got him hooked up with his Omnia Pro membership, already got his prize. Drain the Lake, Athron, impressive victory as well. Reached out about Omnia Pro as well. Excited for the winners to get their hands on Omnia Pro and see what they can do with it, both in the web app and in their mobile app to improve the overall experience and start saving some 10% back on their fishing gear, no minimum free shipping, and all those benefits that come with the Omnia Pro app. Overall leader, T. Lindstrom, in regular fantasy fishing, is in the pole position to get the potential contingency prize in the year-end gift cards. If he or she is a Omnia Pro member at the end of the year, that gift card will double from $100 to $200. So just remember that if you're thinking about picking up Omnia Pro, if you don't already have it. Big O winner, 8th Ron, also. So by winning an event, we'll be eligible for the contingency program. So that's exciting. If you don't have Omnia Pro and you're not thinking you're going to win it and you like to try it out and not wait till the end of the season, definitely check out the code HB Pro. You can use it to save 50% on Omnia Pro, bringing it down to just $25 for the year. With all the benefits of free shipping, 10% back on purchases, all those things like that, it'll quickly pay for itself in no time. Not to mention the enhanced layers and the mapping mobile app, great for kayak anglers, boaters, shore fishermen, ice fishermen, and so much more. Not to mention some of the private sales. I saw a reel that was an extra $90 off in the Omnia Pro section. So you find one reel like that, you more than pay for Omnia Pro. If anybody has any questions with Omnia Pro, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. And if some of you viewers that are already Omnia Pro members, let people know down in the comments how much you like Omnia Pro and what you like about it. If you're not interested in Omnia Pro and you still want to check out Omnia and you want to be a winner no matter what, check out the 15% off discount code that's down in the description of this video that you can pretty much use this save on all kinds of fishing tackle, maybe some Dobbins rods, get yourself some reels, some gear, some rain gear, all kinds of accessories. So there's a 15% off code for Omnia for just anybody that'd like to use it down below. Let's hop into the new Pick'em game. Start there. Kind of exciting. I kind of enjoy the Pick'em game a little bit because it is probably the closest thing we see to like fantasy sports and the Pick'em game. So is this a glimpse in the future where we might see some Pick'em style gambling, fantasy sports where there's actually real wages in the board? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. I thought some of these pick'ems were pretty challenging for this event. Milliken versus Chris Zaldain. Chris Zaldain was just 45 minutes away from Ray Roberts. Has put his time in there. Should be a pretty good pick, but he is a little risky because of his wanting to throw big baits and go for a huge big win. So there's a lot of upside, and I think there's a lot of risk with Chris Zaldain. Ben Milliken, I think he also wants to win. Neither one of these guys, financially, care probably about a $5,000 or $10,000 check. Really, they're all about the classic championship. So I think they're both got that potential to go big or go home type, but I'm going to go with Milliken. Previous classic champs, Hamner versus Gustafson. I think just the way this sets up, I think Hamner, his skill set with a jerkbait, things like that, I'm going to give the nod to Hamner at this classic. And he's just been fishing a little better than Gussie has since he won his title. Former Rookie of the Years, Trey McKinney versus Jay Shakurt. This is a tough one. McKinney won a tournament on Lake Fork in Texas. Jay Shakurt has been solid. He's had a couple good classics. I'm going to give the advantage to Jay Shakurt just because he's got a couple classics under his belt. War Eagle Anglers, Logan Parks for Jordan Lee. Another tough one. Logan Parks, obviously one of the very young, talented anglers that made the classic last year, really high up in AOI. Good at the sonar, good without his sonar. Jordan Lee's won 2 classics, one of them in Texas, shows up for big events. I think I'm going to go with Lee, and maybe we'll get a 3 for Jordan Lee. Nation Knockout, Connor Jacob versus Blake Capps. I don't know a ton about Connor Jacob. We talked to Blake Capps again on this channel, a live interview. He's from Oklahoma. Last time we hear, a good buddy of his, Chris Jones, took 3rd in the June Ray Roberts. So we've seen Oklahoma anglers have success here. So I'll go with Blake Capps in this one. Brotherly Love, Chris Johnson versus Corey Johnson. That could be a pick every single week. It would be a tough pick. They're almost the same. They have like the same number of classics. I averaged out their classics appearances within like one spot. Really tough here, but I'm going to give the nod to Chris just because he did a little better last time they were at Ray Roberts. And finally, Walters versus Martin. Martin coming off a DQ. Obviously, this is, unfinished business. Scott Martin wants to get a championship for his family that Roland never got in the Classic, but in Texas, I don't think Martin has a chance against Patrick Walters. But Walters will go big in the Classic, but I think Hamner's roommate does well in this Classic. So let's jump over to fantasy fishing. Then we'll do Drain the Lake, and then we'll get into the tiebreaker picks. If you're off to a good start in your fantasy fishing game and you want to keep it that way, make sure you subscribe to this channel and think about hitting the bell notifications, because I put out videos every single event to help remind you, give you some good advice on picking anglers, give you some things you haven't thought about, but most importantly, to remind you to get your lineup so you don't miss an event. I like to start at bucket E. Kyle Norsatter getting a lot of love here at almost 40% as the only, one of the established elite anglers with multiple years. Blake Kepps, Nation winner. He's an elite angler. The rest of these are Nation and angler guys. Caps geographically could be a good pick. I think Josh Butler. I mean, a lot of these guys that won Opens have skills, but no Bassmaster Open angler has won the Bassmaster Classic in like 20 years that wasn't already an elite angler. A lot of, but for some reason, I think there's going to be a shallow bite here. And Cody Stahl won in lacrosse. He's had some good events at Eufaula, Oklahoma. For that reason, I'm going to give him the nod here, and I'm going to pick him, hoping that he's going to carry some weight in bucket E, find a shallow bite, have a pretty successful tournament, and make the day 3 cut. Moving on to bucket D, Logan Parks, Justin Atkins, Easton Fothergill, lots of love, Kyle Patrick. Pat Schlopper had a good tournament on Toledo Bend. I thought long and hard about Wesley Gore here. I think if you're looking for a low percentage angler here, I think Wesley Gore's his track record on Fork, Toledo Bend, fisheries like that, pre-spawn, very good. He's had a tough Florida swing, but I expect him to do good things here. So if really it came down to me to be either Easton Fothergill or Wesley Gore, maybe Logan Parks. In the end, I'm going to Easton Fothergill. Even though he got crushed in Florida, I think he's going to show up big. He had a decent Grand Lake Tulsa experience. Hopefully Easton doesn't bite me for the 3rd time in fancy fishing, but I think there's some other good anglers in here for you to look at as well. Bucket C, Kyoya Fujita, getting the love, and he should. He's been very strong February through March across the country, pre-spawn, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, South Carolina. So I would expect this pre-spawn event to line up for him. And, whether it's the minnow or some other crazy baits, finesse, I expect him to be able to catch these pressured Texas bass. If it's a swim jig thing like we saw last time with Jim Jones, Will Davis could be good. Tyler Williams is a jig guy. I like that. Robert Gee. If it's a shallow bite, Hunter Shryock. Some good anglers here as well. But I think I like the jig when I think Texas. I think about what Tyler Williams did on Fork and Toledo Bend last year. I like him here at Ray Roberts. I like him to lock that jig. He's definitely a structure fisherman. This is a structure lake, so let's go with T. Willie. Star Power in bucket B. Taco Ito getting quite a bit of love. Hackney if it goes down shallow. We got both the Drew, Benton, and Cook here, so if somehow this magically warms up and there's a sight fishing bite, Drew Cook and Drew Benton, very strong picks here. You got Tompkins not getting a lot of love. Pretty strong scoper, did pretty well in Texas last time. Matt Airy, runner-up in June in the last Bassmaster Classic at Ray Roberts. Yeah. But I think Big Ben Milliken goes big and makes a splash at this Classic. So I'm going to take Ben. Going to go with the chalk pick in bucket B. Bucket A, Lee Livesay leading the charge. Walters, Zaldain, Jordan Lee, Trey McKinney. I mean, it's hard to pick against any of these guys, to be honest. Defending champ Hamner. Cody Huff has had success in Texas when in major events. Jordan Lee won a Classic here, close to home for Zaldain and Livesay. Man, this is a tough pick. You really can't go wrong. Jay Shakurt's been super solid in his Classic appearances. He's catching them everywhere these days. John Carrot, structured offshore fisherman, loves his 360, loves his live scope. Can catch him old school cranks. We've seen it in Florida. We've seen it this year. He's leading the AOI, right? There's a lot of momentum going there. But I'm going to go with Walters. It looks like we're going to have warm weather. We're going to be in the 70s. The shorts should be able to come out. And when the shorts come out, Patrick Walters catches them. And maybe this is where Patrick Walters gets his first major title. Jumping on to Drain the Lake. And then wrapping it up with the tiebreaker weight. Will they break the record? The Altai 3-day record? Drain the Lake, a bit of a strategy game here. I'm doing a lot better. I'm in the top 1,000. I'm way in the dark green for Drain the Lake. So, the planner, the HellaBass planner is working out there. If you want access to HellaBass planner, I'll put a link down in the description down in the video. But let's knock out this Drain the Lake. This is an opportunity to maybe use a couple anglers that are open anglers that qualified or nation guys and save some elite guys. I don't know that I'm really going to do that, but I'm going to take Airy. I'm going to take Justin Atkins. I didn't give him a lot of love and picks, but I like him here for some reason in drain the lake. You know, Blake Caps could be something, you know. I am taking Easton Fothergill. I'm taking John Garrett here. Cody Huff. We're going to use up Jordan Lee at this event. We're going to double down on Ben Milliken. And we are going to take a flyer that Zaldain can come through big in his home state. A lot of popular favorites here using up. You know, a lot of the major picks. So we'll see how it goes. Tiebreaker weight. I'm going 76.3, which is just over Rick Clunn's 1984 Arkansas River 21 bass over 3 days record. So I'm looking them to beat both the Van Dam Lake Catawatchee New Orleans Classic weight as well as the Rick Clunn all-time record. Let's see. Hopefully there's some big bass caught. Excited to see how this goes down. If you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, beat HellaBass and the Omnia Prize and everything that goes with it, and you want to get a little more detailed on that, make sure you check out this video on the screen right here next.